apologize for the delay. Welcome. You should be able to share my screen. Wonderful Wednesday, everybody. Let me know. Okay. Yes. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody, to the Tradespoon Live Trading Room. It's good to see you. This is the live trading room afternoon closing bell, stocks and options. My name is Scott. I will be your host. Let me make sure that everything is lined up here. It is indeed. Okay, let's get started. My name is Scott. I'm the head trading coach at Tradespoon. I have been trading for going on 24 years, teaching for 20 years. These are the disclosures. You know them, you love them. Be careful out there. Trading's risky. We're not advisors, yada, yada. Let's jump into it. Let's get right up into it, shall we? I don't need this anymore. All right. This is not updated. Let me get this where it needs to be for us. And here we go. Fed's Powell says, I won't take 2 consecutive hikes off the table. I mean, they say hawkish vibe. It's fine. I was thinking they should have done it last time, but they didn't. They took a break. We'll get inflationary data. Let's just jump to that. We'll get inflationary data on Friday. PCE index, core index, year over year. So we'll get some sentiment. But for me, the economy can handle it fine, right? It's going to be fine. Wonderful Wednesday indeed. Dennis, good to see you. Good afternoon, Koo. Hello, John. We have not done it yet. I had an issue in, so that was my bad, but we're off and running. So we will go ahead and dive into it and get started. Yeah, so tomorrow, more Fed speak, but again, saying he won't take 2 off the table, great. If Friday's inflationary data comes back at or a little bit, even if it's only marginally below where they expected, or if it's in any way above, it's a guarantee. We're getting a quarter point. They're going to nudge it. But at this point, they've done enough, and we've seen enough in decline that I think it's only nudging now, right? Great. Hit it with a quarter point. And if they hit it with another quarter point after that, we can sustain it. Everything's been coming back so positively, right? If you look at yesterday's data, durable goods was at 1.2. The previous, we were expecting it to drop to my home prices were supposed to fall 2.4. They only fell 1.7, and we're supposed to have less sales, and we had more by nearly 100,000. Consumer confidence was supposed to marginally go up, and it jumped to 109. Jobs, still nothing showing any kind of lasting negative impact on the labor market. So yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Let's hit it. Hit it with another quarter, see what happens. It sounds to me like they're going to hit it with a quarter and then watch the data. And if it's rolling again, they're going to let it go. And they still may hit it at one last time. I think we have 3 meetings left, don't we? It seems like we do. Let's see. We've got late July. If I can get a calendar up in front of me. We've got late July. And then we'll go 6 weeks. That'll put us middle of September. And then we'll go another 6 weeks. And that will put us at the end of October. and then middle of December. So we've got 4 meetings left. We've only had half of them. 4 meetings left, and I think we're going to have rate hikes on 2 out of 4 at a quarter of a point, and I think that it's sustainable, right? I don't think that we're concerned. I don't think we're concerned about that, right? So I would say that maybe it's a quarter point, then a quarter point, then they let it go the rest of the year. Maybe if it's a quarter point, let it go. And if it looks like it needs one more nudge, they'll give it one more nudge. I'm feeling good. My market posture is strong. Staying bullish. I've been bullish for a while, actually increasingly bullish. And I feel like we've gotten some pretty decent signals lately. I would imagine some of you are in some bullish trades. Are we looking at a camper? Am I being? Yeah, I always look at. I try to convince my wife that that's what retirement's going to be. We're going to tour the country. She's like, I don't want to live in a camper. We'll see. My number, I'm a 4.75. I dropped from a 5, which is not really a drop at all. I would say I'm hovering around a 5. Solidly bullish. You agree with her. Come on, we're going to be touring the country. It's going to be magic. Magical. What do we have next week? Pretty light. A little bit of manufacturing. Then it's closed on Tuesday. Then we have ADP jobs report. We have Fed minutes, but I don't think that we need that. I think we know what the Fed's plan is. There's nothing really there. Jobless claims, same as usual. And then Department of Labor. Great. The jobs report information has been coming back strong. No problem with that at all. Yeah, I think that all is well as far as that goes. Let's go take a look at the toolbox and see how the model sees it. Important for us. So the model has turned bearish on us a little bit. Oh, good. Glad you made it, Bob. Glad you made it. Okay, so the model's turned bearish here. I'm not seeing that. We'll see what happens over the next few days. As far as my market posture goes, being a 5 or a 4.755, very strong. However, I do have a potential hedge trade developing on the VIX, right? The more bullish I am, the more open I am to wanting to put on a hedge trade. So there you go. And we'll talk about that signal here in just a second. But a little bearish on the SPY. Let's look at the Qs. Now the Qs had been showing the most weakness. And still see, oh, look at that. So Stella is picking up on something to the downside, right? Something to the downside. Not exactly sure what. We are paying close attention to it, but not good here, which is interesting because the Qs, the Nasdaq, has been the strongest component of this market. It's been leading the way. Chip stocks, Apple, Microsoft, software doing very well with the AI boom all of a sudden picking up. I haven't seen anything to convince me otherwise yet. All right, but there's definitely this little bit of caution flagging us down a little bit. We'll be aware and take it into consideration. The Russell, same thing, pointing down, and let's go to the across the board. Stella is picking up on something. she has been definitely thinking about it going down for weeks, and it just hasn't, right? But okay, I'm still gonna let that be a grain of salt in my overall posture that says, hey, you know what? The The AI is picking up on something that it doesn't like. Something doesn't smell right. Hi, okay. Good to see you. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Here's today's heat map. Pretty neutral overall. I mean, you can see around the outside, we got some green. In the middle, we've got some red. It's mostly just kind of blackish, meaning neutral, right? As we look at what the markets are doing right now, I jumped on this. We're down 0.27 on the S&P. We're down 0.4 on the Dow. The Nasdaq and the Russell have turned positive. Nasdaq up 0.15. The Russell, which has shown an increased level of strength, has gone up even more at 0.27. Crude oil's up quite a bit today. Stocks, well, okay. So what else do we know? AI chip export ban would amount to economic warfare. I don't know what that. There was something about. So is that what's going on? The chip companies are like thinking of. I guess would that be nationalizing the AI chips, or I mean, it seems like different companies would already have it. I don't know. That's interesting. An interesting thing. If anyone has seen a good article that discusses that and what's going on, because I saw something else about it, but I didn't look into it, send me the link. I would very much appreciate it. I'm not sure what's going on there. Apple stock touches record on cusp of $3 trillion market value. I like Apple and a trade on Apple. Why AI is different than Metaverse? Okay. Pinterest stock jumps on another upgrade. Okay. David Rosenberg says the S&P will erase this year's gains. He's probably the same guy who was talking about a recession the first 6 months. Always wanting to prognosticate about bearish, because I'll tell you what, fear sells, right? Everyone's always trying to talk about that. Okay. Yeah, that's about it. Let's see what else. We've gone through it all. Let's get to the quiz. Let's get to the quiz. Oh, am I not getting data? There we go. I had a bunch of NAs. That didn't make a lot of sense. Okay. Look, I mean, just looking at this chart right here, this looks bullish. We had a new high. We pulled back. Our stochastics dropped into the oversold. We turned. We got signals. There's signals have been showing up. I'm not feeling the bearishness. I'm not feeling it. I see plenty of strength as I look around the market. Out of curiosity, what are the new trades that are getting put on with Vlad? Is he looking for the pullback, or is he trading a little more bullish? He's still more bearish. I mean, we definitely had a bit of a run, right? You know, is there a chance that we might see some level of consolidation? Sure. But I'll tell you, for me right now, closing bullish trades. Yeah, I felt like, you know, at the end of not last week, but the prior, it was a great time to be closing some trades. Last week was mostly consolidative, right? It was mostly consolidative. There wasn't much price action other than just a mild pullback. So yeah, I think that makes it interesting. Okay, what else? Let's get the quiz. We'll look at some setups and some triggers. What about everyone out there? How are you feeling? Feeling bullish? Feeling bearish? Are you feeling more neutral and you want balance? What are you trading? What are your concerns? Let me get a little bit of a temperature check from the group. Let me know what you're doing, what's good, what you don't like. Let's talk about it. Let's get a consensus. In the meantime, let's pull up the S&P 500 for the 5-minute chart, and let's get a quiz. I'll be back home Friday. So Friday morning, I will have my fancy microphone and better, faster computer, bigger screens, more comfortable chair, more comfortable bed, all of it. It's all coming my way. Very excited about that. Earnings trade, still no hedges? Nah, not yet. Did anyone take the Micron Iron Condor for earnings? What were the numbers? Let me know if anyone took that. I'll pass it on. 8 bulls, 3 bears, more bullish. Love it. That makes sense. Love to see it. Okay, so let's get this quiz. I know exactly where I'm going. Let me draw some lines. I'm going to go right across the top and right across the bottom. A, it's got to get above 436. B, in between 435 and 436. C, it's got to drop below 435. So we have that dollar range. We've been sitting in this range for the last couple of hours. You can wait. I'm going to go see what Stella has to say. I've got answers coming in. I've got answers coming in. Okay. Let's get down to intraday. And we will see where that puts us. I'm sure some of you are wondering, but the under 18 girls Utah Avalanche soccer team has been dominating the Far West Regionals. 4 games, 4 wins, 26-1 goal differential. Finals are tomorrow. Looking to be back-to-back champions. Hoorah. Okay, let's see. What did Stella say? Sorry, I got distracted. Okay, Stella says we are going to end at 435.81. 435.81. That is a B. Stella's a B. I'm kind of feeling that. Let's see. John's an A. Dennis is a B. Brad is an A. Jacques is a B. LK is a B. Bob the Bear is a C. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's a lower high. We seem to be rolling over. I think we're going to finish in B territory. I think it's just going to grind it out sideways to some extent. I'm not seeing enough to convince me in a different direction. So, yeah, that looks pretty reasonable there. B. Anybody else weigh in? Nope. Got it. All right. All right. Window is closing. That's a fun green color. I don't know that I've ever automatically landed on that green color. Let's go back out and let's take a look at the VIX. So this is where I have just a hint of concern. Right? What's my concern? My concern is that I am fairly automatic when it comes to how I analyze this. That's a low. And as of right now, that's above it. So if tomorrow we have a doji and then the next day a green candle, then that becomes, that's playing out. But the problem was for a 7-day and 3-day period. Remember that for 3 days straight, we were down here, and now all of these days are above it, which is why this stochastics turned up the way it did. I've had people ask me, why is the stochastics going up? We've had 3 days down and it's going up. Because even though we've had 3 days down, that one gap up that we had 3 days ago on Monday, excuse me, that one gap up pushed it to a point where when it's a 7-3 stochastics, it's going to look like it turned around the other way. So you might think, are you going to hedge? And the answer is yes, I'm going to. I mean, for one thing, the SPY puts right now are very cheap. They're very cheap. There's not a lot of downside to putting it on and carrying a hedge for a little bit, especially when the signal is showing up. So, am I still bullish? Yes. Am I still looking for bullish trades? Yes. Meaning I've taken some and I'm still considering some. Well, look at NVIDIA. Looks fantastic. Looks like it's ready to turn, right? But the more, and it seems like most of you are with me, where you have more bullish than bearish, if not all bullish, and don't have any bearish on right now. Either way, that's when we definitely would need to have that hedge, right? We would absolutely need to have that hedge in place and ready to go. Okay, so spent $1 on the SPY 412s. Yeah, they're cheap, right? I mean, it's funny because when you look back even earlier this year or last year, and it's like a hedge was going to be 350, 380, and now it's like $1.50. You know, same. That's why I like to do the hedging the way that I do, meaning I do 5 weeks out in time, 5% out of the money, because it's apples to apples to apples. Now, the only thing that changes its characterization then is the VIX. So if I'm 5% out of the money, 5 weeks out in time, and it's $3.50, that means the VIX is probably in the mid to upper 20s. If it's $1.50, $1.40, that means it's down in the teens, mid to lower teens, or right. We haven't seen 12. Well, we touched 12 for a half a minute, but not much beyond that. And so those are the things that I am. Oh, sorry, Carmen is a C. I didn't get. I marked it. You're marked. We'll hedge that on Friday, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Okay, but that was the concern. Otherwise, it's still pretty low, right? I mean, if you look, we're still kind of in this. This is the way I would draw the current consolidation. And if you were to extend this line, I mean, that's pretty spot on, right? We had this little jump out there. We had this little jump out there. But right now, for the most part, you'll notice that it's been a pretty steady Eddy decline from 20 down where we are at 13.5. Okay, so what does that mean? Even if it comes down 2 more days and gets here, if it breaks this consolidation, I would hedge it. If it goes up, comes down, and gets a higher low, I'll hedge it again. If I get 2 hedges on with the VIX at 13.5 to 14 or 15, no matter what, those are going to be cheap. If we get a correction or a consolidation, we're gonna see it test back up towards 20 probably again, right? You know, the earlier we get that hedge on, the better off we're going to be for having done so. So yeah, I am bullish. I am looking for bullish trades. We're going to go through this watch list here in just a second and talk about it. I'm bullish, looking for bullish trades in bullish trades. But with that being said, never wrong to have a plan considering a hedge trade. There it is. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, observations. Did I miss anything? Otherwise, I'm going to jump right in and let's hit the watch list. Apple. Apple looks great. The signal for me on Apple is back here. I mean, it's a little bit. It's profitable. When in Apple, it's profitable from that signal, but not a lot. This is kind of grinding it out a little bit. Is it still viable? Well, I mean, it's had some time. The Heiken Ashi is still favorable, right? The Heiken Ashi is definitely still favorable, and it looks like it's accelerating. So I'm going to stay with it, but I'm definitely wanting to see what happens next. Okay, let's get back out of this. Let's go back to C3.AI is turning around. Anybody pulling the trigger? It had a pretty heavy decline. Didn't have a lot of volume though. Holding the 50, looks like it's turning. I'm curious how Stella sees something like this. With those candles, I think she's probably going to be more bullish than not. Yeah. I mean, like it's looking for a little uptick, but then falling a little further. So take that with a grain of salt. AMAT was phenomenal yesterday. I got in the day before. I'd like to tell you I took some profits off there, but I didn't. I've taken half off now. Obviously, getting in fairly early here is still profitable, but gave a pretty hefty chunk back. Yeah, what are you going to do? Sometimes you eat the bear, and sometimes the bear eats you. Then nothing. So I don't love it. IONQ soaring with big volume. Is it on the list? It's not on my list, but I'm willing to look at it. Remind me when I get to the eyes or near the eyes. ASAN is on that list. Asana software company. Come on. Give me my symbol. There we go. Well, what is going on here? My charts are dying on me. Huh. Well, now, come on. Think or swim. Hmm. Okay, bear with me. Everything was working fine. This program appears to be performing slowly. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I can't seem to get a chart here. What if I detach it? All right, fair enough. We'll go that way. ASAN. Same kind of a thing. Now, not as strong, right? It's off the highs a little bit, but it's still going to turn. It's still holding a 50 and it's still giving a turn. I would say ASAN, AI, both valid. BLDR, a bit overbought. That was an interesting one. It gave a good signal back here. Then it just kind of paused. Then it popped again. That's a tough one. CPRT looks a little overextended. CrowdStrike, an old favorite. CrowdStrike is just, I mean, it's right there, right? I think I like the others better, but if you are a fan of this company, it's holding the 50-day moving average. It's pinched. It looks like it's turning and giving an opportunity. But I would say, pick one. Don't pick them all. AI, CRWD, ASAN, SMCI, anything along those lines. Here's Cisco. Cisco's viable. I actually took Cisco yesterday, and it's just pausing today, but it's still a viable trade. Pull back, higher low, old resistance becomes new support. I'm curious if this one shows up a little bit better here. Didn't have quite as much of a pullback, so I'm cautiously optimistic, only to be denied. Yeah, the model's not seeing it bullish right now. That is what it is. You're gonna have to decide how okay you are with that. Whoops, nope, don't want to trade it. DIA, yeah, so the Dow's not holding up as well as some of the software stocks, but they do look very similar. Here's DKNG, DraftKings. Sorry, I got to keep going to this other chart. This looks a little bit like Apple, just kind of grinding it out. If you got in on this turn back here, it's making money, but not that aggressively. It's a little slow. Flex. This is one I've been watching and waiting on, and it does seem waiting on it still. No, here it is. Whoops, where is it? It does seem like Flex is giving us a turn signal, higher low, and at this point it is now going the other way. The stochastics has turned. Hard not to like that, right? Hard not to like that. Did I go August or July? I went July. That's where I'm going with these trades right now. Another this week probably, and then I'll start looking further out. Here is GLD. GLD is down, nothing really there. Here's IBM. IBM had a nice little recovery and then just is stalling out. Right, there's the stall. It turned, but it's stalling. Iffy. Still looks pretty good, but iffy overall. Here's IWM. IWM it's come down, found support, started bouncing. Let's see. We already looked at the small caps. I don't know. Does anyone have a stock they've looked at recently that is showing up positively on the model? Because right now it feels like it's primarily bearish in nature. I haven't seen any that have showed up that do look more bullish than not. Here's Jets. Maybe Jets would be one. GE, maybe. Here's Jets. Jets is strong, but it by the time it turned and gave like 7%. It's very difficult to jump into an already somewhat extended stock that was jumping that much, right? Let's see. SOUN is what he said, and let me see. Bob said another AI stock would be IONQ. IONQ. Ooh, yeah. I mean, that gave the signal late last week. If that was on your list, it was a little sideways, but it did turn. I don't know. I don't know if I would have traded that one necessarily because it just didn't have the momentum yet. It was really stalled comparatively, and then it just started to accelerate again. That makes sense. Let's see. SOUN. Let's take a look at that. SOUN. Sound Hound. Same kind of a thing. It definitely looks bullish. I 100% agree with that. It looks bullish. But is it giving us bullish signals? Is it giving us bullish entry points? Or is it just kind of moving bullish and you look at it and you think, man, I would have liked to have got in there? And it's like, yeah, but where? Where was the entry that you were looking at? Does look bullish. Can't argue with that. SYMGE. Let's take a look. We'll get back to the watch list in just a second. Here's GE. Yeah, GE. I think I got impatient with GE. Started going sideways, but it did pull back. It did hold above the 50. It did turn a couple of days ago, and it's moving well today. It's a grinder. So if you don't mind grinders, you have that. Stella likes it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Moving on. What was the other one for AI? SYM. Yep, SYM looks just exactly like AI and CrowdStrike. They all have very similar charts. So if you're taking the trade, one of the things you would be thinking about is, am I looking for this to get to a higher high? Am I looking for it to get to the same high? Am I thinking it doesn't even need to, and I might take profit at 48 as it starts to get nearer to those old highs? There's momentum there, and no reason to expect that it's declining yet. If you like it, now is the time, right? Chip stocks are very similar. I mean, we saw AMAT. Here's Mickey Donald's. I have it back on my list. We'll see. It looks like it's trying to turn. Got back above the 50. Consolidated. Held the 50 as a support level. Trying to bounce off of it now. I somewhat consider McDonald's discretionary, or sorry, more defensive. But most places characterize it as more of a discretionary position. So let's look at Meta. Meta looks like it's finally pulling back. Meta's just been grinding along at resistance. I keep forgetting to pull the other chart up. I think it needs to pull back before I want to trade it again. I'm patient. Monster's one I've traded a couple of times recently. And it was looking better this morning. Now it's right at kind of a line in the sand. You can see that where we are now is still slightly higher than here, and it's right at the 50. If tomorrow at Doji's gives an inside day, Friday it turns, I'm still considering that valid. That's a nice one from the consumer discretionary. So that's definitely one that I'm thinking about and interested in. Let's take a look at Marvell. Chip stocks. Chip stocks are trying. They're trying. You can see Marvell has turned. And in fact, you're getting a better entry today on the confirmation of the turn than you did yesterday on the big candle. And you probably have the right Heikin-Ashi to set a tighter stop. Maybe put your stop right underneath yesterday's low instead of back here at the low. It's viable. There's plenty of viable signals here. You can be as bullish as you want to be right now, in my opinion, without a doubt. Microsoft. So Microsoft let me down. I got in, and I had to follow my plan. My plan said, anyone else trade Microsoft? It did it to me again. Started to go. So I have 3 trades on Microsoft. I have this one back here, made a little bit of money, and then bailed, and then watched it do what I expected. Then this trade here, magnificent. Really booked a good gain there. Next trade, took a stop. 3 trades, positive. Okay, I'm going to keep trading it, but yeah, certainly not stoked that it broke down 2 days ago. And then the next day it came back a little. I'm like, seriously, again? So I feel a little better that today there's not any follow through. But I think it was being disrupted that by that news of the ATVI deal. Okay. And twice positive. There you go. Big moves in cruise ships and airlines, Bob. They're smashing it. They're obliterating it. Right? There is a travel profit boom going on apparently right now. So yeah, CCL. Did we look at that? I thought we did. CCL, Jets. No, we have RCL. We have RCL. You're looking at CCL. RCL was up $2, not nearly as much. What was the CCL news? Let's take a quick peek. Ooh, oh, earnings. Yes, earnings. Got it. Which is funny because it's like they were expecting to lose 34, but only lost 31. That's better than expected. Right? So there's that. And they maybe raised their guidance. That's probably what I would think happened. Is they said, "Hey, we're seeing bookings higher and more cruise ships are full, etc." Anyways, okay, let's keep going. Where were we? Microsoft. Microsoft was a letdown, but Netflix. Oh, Netflix. Netflix is on the list. Anybody try it? I got in early today looking for Netflix to move again on the gap up. I thought, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Looked pretty good. Setup was good. Everything about it was solid. NVIDIA is close. I'm not that worried about NVIDIA. Someone was like, oh, NVIDIA is down 2%. So what? So what? Look at it. Look at it. It is setting up for a higher low. It is knocking on the door. If you don't love NVIDIA, you should. Let me introduce you. You should get to know each other, have a drink, have a conversation, find some things in common, and get ready to trade it. That's what should happen. Definitely a strong stock and a strong group in a strong sector with a nice looking setup. And I am just waiting, biding my time and waiting. Here is Oracle. Oracle has also been quite strong, also in a nice setup position, right? So like I said, there are triggers this week, there are setups, and there are triggers still developing. And they're all in the right places. Where are the right places for me? Technology, still the leading sector. Communication services, still coming in second, close behind. Consumer discretionary, coming in third. Then we have a couple of vying to join the club, fighting for a seat at the table. Industrials first, financial second. So there's that's an area, I don't know for you guys, but for me, looking to add some industrial stocks to my list makes sense. That's definitely something that I'm looking to do. Industrials and financials as well. And it's interesting because a couple of brokers, credit looked good. Insurance looked good. So that's your task between now and Friday, and maybe even over the weekend. Find us. We're all going to work on it. I'll bring some too. Find us some strong industrials, 2 or 3 is all we really need to add to the list, 4 maybe. Same with financials, maybe a few more. If we're going to have additional sectors joining this bullish group and find more market breadth, we definitely want to take advantage of it. Pulte Homes. Home builders have been doing great. We know that the new home sales have been strong, so no surprises there. But a little overextended now. Here's another one from this is the one I like. I think Vlad likes this one too, doesn't he? PLTR, isn't this one of his? This one turned a couple of days ago. Boom. Right? Who took this one? Come on. I think, did Vlad take this, or he did recently? Someone tell me. I think he's the one who somebody said this is Vlad's, and I added it to my watch list when that happened. So I wasn't watching this one, and then I started watching it, and I waited for the pullback and got exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, he watches it. Okay. I hope he watches it with a trade on over the last 3 days. That's a good view. Okay. QQQ. How much time do we have? All right, we're going to get through it all. QQQ still looks bullish. There's nothing there. There's not. I mean, yes, I know that the model it's AI of its own. It's built to try to learn and pick up on things. But sometimes it gets it wrong. That looks quite bullish to me. That trend looks very bullish. We just made a new high. We just had a higher low. It's turning over. The stochastics looks great. What's the problem? Someone might say, well, what about the volume, Scott? What about the volume? Remember this, and I score it this way when I do my market forecast. I expect my volume score to drop, right? I expect it to start to drop. We had volume when it was important, right? Here, we had volume. Here, we had volume. We didn't quite get it through here, right? I would have thought, but on the acceleration of the trend, it came with volume. The buyers were there. Now that the trend is intact, if the buyers and they get it moving, things in motion tend to stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. Laws of physics apply in trading as much as anywhere. What would the outside force look like? Volume the other way. We don't see, as long as I don't see big selling volume, which I haven't, I'm okay if my volume goes neutral because my trend scores are getting stronger. And so my posture maintains itself around a 5 or a 6, despite, like, right, the volume for me had been at a 0.75. It had been pretty strong. It had been a nice contributing factor to my bullishness was the fact that we had those breakout periods occurring on above average volume. Very helpful, right? Very helpful. So I don't need volume now because I have trend. Okay, what else? Thoughts on AMC and home builders. Let's take a quick peek. AMC. I mean, it's coming off a low. Not super stoked about it. I need a higher low, and then I would trade it. Or I guess, I don't know. Are you thinking of shorting it? It's such a weird kind of funky stock at this point. I don't know that I would do much with it, to be perfectly honest. Totally green on PHM. See, I don't know. I think it looks like it's overbought and coming down. We looked at Pulte. I think it's overextended, and it's like, I mean, this was a great signal. I got impatient through this little lull, and then it took off. But it's such a grinder, a grindy bastard. We talked about PHM. Here's our RCL. Here's Royal Caribbean Cruises. The travel sector staying pretty strong indeed. SMCI, another AI stock, looks great. Definitely could have taken that one. Looks good. Here's SPY. Still down marginally for the day. I think it's just a pause day. The Fed said, "Oh, we're not rolling out 2 in a row," and the market's barely blinking. I'm fine with that. I'm still looking for bullishness going into the close. Oh, we're solidly in Bs. It's looking good, Bs. It's looking good. Tesla. Tesla is turning. That's a valid signal. If you were waiting for a signal on Tesla, that's probably it. That's probably it. Okay, let's test. Let's test the model on Tesla. What do we have? 3 minutes? Okay, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. Tesla. Ooh, the model does not like it. She is just feisty. She's a bit salty right now, apparently. Taiwan Semiconductors, I definitely like this. I like NVIDIA better, but I do still like TSM. It's right there knocking on the door. It's turned. pretty close to support. I mean, you could get a phenomenal reward to risk ratio out of a trade like that right now. The VIX still down for the day. Okay. Good to know for us that the VIX is staying down, but it's still in that setup. Wayfair was a retail / consumer discretionary. Gave the signal back here, made a nice move. Overextended, needs a pullback. Let's look at our XLs real quickly. XLE energy popping a little today, but overall, what would be concerning if we saw energy start to surge for some reason? That would put inflationary pressures on the market. We're not seeing that. So for now, I would say energy feels pretty good. XLF, what do we think about financials? It dropped back below the 50, but it's trying to turn at it. So a little below, but I wouldn't call it a break, right? XLI, industrials, stronger looking, right? That's why I said industrials first, financials second, but definitely looking at both and willing to consider both. Let's look at our defensives and see what we think. Here is XLP. If the market were getting more defensive, we would see some money flowing into this. It doesn't seem like that's happening. There was a marginal amount right at the end of May, early June, but it really has subsided. Same thing has occurred with utilities. If you look, very much the same, if not even more so. And lastly, XLY. The discretionary still looks quite strong, and it looks like it's ready to go for another run. So if you have a hard time finding a consumer discretionary, you always have the ability to trade the sector ETF itself. Bob said if MU smashes it, the semis will jump tomorrow. And right, with that being the case, what would you do? Well, if you're in it already, like AMAT, gonna ride it. If you're thinking about it, like Taiwan Semiconductor or NVIDIA, you might decide to get in early, right? You might decide to get in early. Let's go see how the contest, the quiz show finished. Looks like we had a bit of a rally at the end of the day. Oh man, I bragged too early. Well, that's a weird looking candle. That doesn't make sense. Oh, look at the buyers pushing it across the finish line. A's, you have it. A little buying pressure at the end. Congratulations, A's, you smarts. Okay, well, there it is. I mean, look, this is our market. I don't have any issues right now. Things look bullish. I'm trading bullish. I've got my eye on a signal and a trigger for a hedge. I'm ready to pull the trigger if I need to. But as of now, I'm looking for more bullish trades to add to the existing bullish trades. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I will see you guys on Friday morning. Oh, I'm so excited. Hopefully, we will have driven home as two-time and defending regional back-to-back champions. That'll be retirement for her, and then she's off to college. I will be back at the house and ready to discuss more market-related issues. It's good to see everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep an eye on everything we've been talking about. I will see you on Friday morning, and as always, happy trading.